Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm Amelia Lee here on this August 29th. It's 6:28 this morning and time for a check of our weather with Eric Dean. It is cool outside, Eric, and I am so happy. I've complained a lot less this week. I really have.
I love that for you, Amelia.
Thank you.
It was a song about 10 years ago. It's Friday, Friday. Da, 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 da.
Got to get down on Friday.
Exactly. You know what? We're all working for the weekend. Exactly. I'll spare you the bad singing. Good Friday morning. It is 6:28, almost 6:30. Here's a look at Somerset, Pulaski County right now. Seeing a temperature of 50 degrees. It feels like 50 out there. You can see the sun is starting to come up. We are losing daylight now as we are going through the fall season, which meteorological fall begins September 1st. Right now we're seeing temperatures in the 40s and 50s, upper 40s near Clintwood, low 50s near Grundy, upper 50s towards Prestonburg, as well as Jackson. Warmer now as compared to 24 hours ago, 10 degrees warmer in Irvin, 5 degrees warmer in Jackson, 7 degrees warmer in Hazard. Dew points right now are in the 40s and 50s. All is quiet on live pinpoint Doppler radar. And if you have plans today, plenty of sunshine for the most part, maybe a renegade shower or two in the afternoon and early evening hours. I'll have your complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes, but right now it is 6:29. We'll toss it back to Amelia.
2 deputies serving a warrant in northern Kentucky were shot. That shooting happening around 10 last night in Walton. 2 Boone County deputies were serving a child support warrant when they entered the home. A man started shooting at them before barricading himself inside. People in the area were forced to shelter in place. Both deputies are stable this morning and are expected to recover. The suspect has not been identified, but officials say he died after shooting himself. New developments after a shooting outside of a Western Kentucky high school football game. A 14-year-old is accused of firing shots outside of last Friday's game between Graves County and Mayfield. Originally, the teen was charged with assault. Now they're facing more charges for putting people in danger, having the gun, and bringing it on school property. An 18-year-old was hurt in the shooting and is in the hospital. The suspect is being held in the Juvenile Detention Center. A major mess on North Highway 11 in Beattyville yesterday morning after a truck hauling animal parts lost part of its load. A mess was scattered across the highway outside of Farmers State Bank and Dairy Queen. Officials say it was a bizarre situation, but it was cleaned up quickly. We are told crews made sure any sanitary issues were taken care of. A Perry County father is accused of directing his children to message women for explicit photos. We first brought you this story Tuesday. Now WYMT's Caroline Mueller joins us to break down what those court records say.
I went through the complaint warrant, the citation, and the bond paperwork. They outline a series of forensic interviews where 3 children describe being told by their father, Randy Sumner Jr. of Scuddy, to text women and ask for nude images. Investigators say those interviews were conducted at the Care Cottage in Hazard, a child advocacy center that specializes in working with victims of abuse. According to the documents, Sumner, who is 39, is charged with distribution of obscene matter to minors. Under KRS 531.030, it's a Class A misdemeanor. The Perry County Sheriff's Office says the case began July 31st after a Department of Child Services employee reported concerns. The interviews at Care Cottage focused on incidents that investigators say happened between July 28th and July 31st. One child, aged 10, told investigators his dad had him start texting women while he was visiting. When asked why his father wanted him to send the messages, the child said his father was dyslexic. He said his dad told him to ask women for inappropriate pictures. A second child, age 11, said his father made his brothers text women for inappropriate stuff. A third child, age 16, told investigators that on several occasions his father had him text women for inappropriate pictures and said more than 20 women sent nude photos while he was texting on his father's behalf. The warrant cites state law, which defines distribute as transferring possession of the material, meaning when the children collected the photos and gave them to their father, the offense was committed. A judge signed the warrant August 5th. Kentucky State Police served it on August 18th. Sumner's bond was set at $5,000 cash, with conditions including no contact with the reported child victims without state approval and cooperation with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. If convicted, this offense is punishable by a fine up to $500, up to 12 months in jail, or both. Now back to you.
Sumner is due back in Perry District Court at 1 o'clock on September 16th. In Laurel County, deputies with the Sheriff's Office say there was an incident that involved a couple of minors at South Laurel High School. According to a post on Facebook, Laurel County school officials learned about an out-of-state juvenile who had threatened a student attending South Laurel High School. Administrators say the person who made the alleged threat was detained out of state and say at no point was there an active threat on the high school's campus. A Johnson County man behind bars on charges of burglary and theft by unlawful taking. Last Friday, police in Prestonburg responded to an incident at the Old Jerry's building regarding a suspicious vehicle complaint. Jeremy Lee Perry told police he was there because he had a flat tire and he'd not been inside the building. Police later found razor knives and power tools inside Perry's vehicle. A special London City Council meeting that was canceled at the last minute is now set to be held today. Its purpose is to amend the charges against Mayor Randall Weddle. The agenda also includes the resignation of Council member Charles Stacey Bench, the only member who voted against impeaching Weddle. Today's meeting is set for noon at the London Community Center. There's a public hearing scheduled for September 5th, and it'll be at the Laurel County Judicial Center. With the increase in false shooting reports on campuses throughout the nation, law enforcement officers in Pikeville are discussing safety. The University of Pikeville has not been victim to the trend of swatting school campuses this week, but officials say things are hitting closer to home after the University of Kentucky saw the issue arise Tuesday. UPike's Public Safety, the Pikeville Police Department, and the Pikeville Fire Department are on guard, with officers saying they take every call seriously and will act quickly, even if the situation is not a true call for help.
So number one, that's a criminal act, is false reporting an incident through Kentucky revised statute. So number one, we take that as a criminal act and we will prosecute.
UPike Public Safety Director Lee Upchurch says in the event of a true threat to students, the university's internal alert system will notify everyone on campus of the threat and how to respond. The Breathitt County Fiscal Court hosted its monthly meeting on Tuesday, and folks came out in droves to discuss the free roaming horses. I spoke with property owners and a tour guide with the Appalachian Horse Project as we continue our coverage of this story. The free roaming horses of Breathitt County have been on the strip jobs for years. Property owners, including Faith Riley, took me to the Elkview area, where some of the hundreds of horses wander.
There is sick horses, skinny horses. They're starving. They'll get down. They'll be eaten alive because they've gotten so sick or injured and can't get back up.
Riley says Tuesday night's fiscal court meeting was, quote, interesting. She showed me pictures of what she says the horses near her look like.
These horses are on private property. The horses out west are actual wild horses. The ones here are feral horses.
I also met up with Marcia Thompson. She's a tour guide with the Appalachian Horse Project. She tells me she understands where the property owners are coming from, but she worries about the future for the horses and tourism here in Breathitt County. The tours range from 2 to 3 hours, with prices as high as $50 per person.
I think there's been a misunderstanding that somehow our organization is raking in money so that we can become independently wealthy. That's just not true. We are a nonprofit organization, so that's how the money is handled. And our records are transparent, very carefully kept about how money is spent and where it goes.
Thompson says the group is looking at land in the Perry County area, where they might be able to bring some of the free roaming horses for a sanctuary after completing the stray hold process. But the future of the tours is still up in the air.
A regulated population, obviously it'll be smaller because horses are being taken, and the property owners protected. I think that's really what I would like to see.
At this point, at least 44 horses have gone through the stray hold process. And we do have links to all of our previous coverage on the free roaming horses with this story on WYMT.com and the WYMT News app. Ground will be broken on a new school building next week. A new Johnson Central High School is set to be constructed in Paintsville, about half a mile away from the current school. It's close to a $100 million project. The superintendent says the current school, built in 1968, was designed for 715 students, and they're now up to more than 900. The new school is expected to open in the fall of 2028. A groundbreaking ceremony is scheduled for next Wednesday. The pro bono team with Apple Red Legal Aid will be on the road this September. The clinics are available in person and through Zoom. They offer help to individuals who are representing themselves in family law matters like uncontested divorce or custody cases. Charnel Burton says they try to provide assistance to those who may not have much free time.
People who work won't have to take off from work to get help with a divorce. They can just come in on a Saturday. And we're going to have a group of students from the University of Kentucky College of Law there to assist.
The students and Apple Red team members will help with forms, assist with drafts and filing paperwork, and provide tools to help in court. The next in-person clinic will be on September 18th from 9 to 3 at the Breathitt County Public Library, and the next Zoom clinic will be on September 16th from 1 to 3. The Powell County Board of Education approved a proposed nickel tax. Superintendent Sarah Wasson says the board voted unanimously to approve that tax. Under the change, a property owner would pay 5 cents for every $100 of assessed property value. Educators want to use the money to improve the district's athletic facilities. The tax had drawn pushback, with a petition pushing for the tax to go for a public vote instead. Before the rooster crows, folks in Lexington might see a change to noise ordinances. One councilwoman has proposed a limit to rooster ownership on urban properties. The proposed ordinance would limit residents in non-agricultural zones to just one rooster. Fines for keeping noisy or restricted animals, including pigs and goats, would rise from $5 to up to $100 per animal per day. Councilwoman Jennifer Reynolds says she's heard complaints from some of her own constituents.
There was a couple that said they could never get a night's sleep because their neighbors had roosters.
Council members say the updated ordinance is about giving clarity and hopefully silence to Lexington neighbors. One Lexington resident who has owned chickens for decades says the ordinance is common sense. Well, we are getting closer to the holiday weekend, and Kentucky State Police are taking part in Operation Crash Awareness and Reduction Effort, or Operation CARE. The initiative will take place today through Monday, September 1st. Operation CARE means police will increase patrols on highways and interstates looking for impaired driving, speeding, distracted driving, and failure to wear seatbelts. KSP says make sure you plan for a way to get home if you drink this weekend. Move over for emergency vehicles, put your phone down, and wear your seatbelt to help keep those roads safe. A community in Mingo County, West Virginia, is mourning the loss of its fire chief. Wilburn Hawkeye Price Jr. died in a hospital earlier this week. He was the chief at Kermit and had also been on the town council for 2 decades. The town's mayor says he'd been fighting health issues. Price's funeral will be at noon tomorrow at the old Kermit gym next to the firehouse.
All right, current time is now 6:41, 54 degrees on Black Mountain. You can see there in Harlan County. Of course, it's a little bit higher up, so a little bit cooler out there. Other temperatures right now, 50s, even 40s, 48 in Jonesville, 47 in Clintwood, 57 in Pikeville. Warmer now as compared to 24 hours ago, so there's a little bit of good news there. We will see temperatures today in the upper 70s and low 80s with that dew point in the 40s and 50s. It feels very nice out there, to say the least. Live pinpoint Doppler radar is quiet for now. If you have plans today, plenty of sunshine, a renegade shower or two, certainly not out of the question in the afternoon and early evening hours. But you can see there on our tower cam, we are seeing some patchy fog, so please allow yourself extra time to get from point A to point B. The complete first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Amelia.